It's Thursday, April 26th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we talk to Town Manager Mark Ells and we learn more about Paul Hebert, Town Councilor for Precinct 3. But let's start with some news you can use. Barnstable Town Council convenes for another round of budget appropriations this evening, and a number of capital expenditures are on the agenda. Budget funding requests on the agenda include the Katuitt Bay Entrance Channel Dredging Project, the demolition of the portable structures at the former Marston's Mills Elementary School and the hazardous material evaluation study of the main facility, the design and hazmat removal project at the Armory Building, the Public Roads Improvement Program, and the design of the Bumps River Bridge repairs. Tune in to Channel 18 at 7 p.m. or log on to www.townofbarnstable.us to watch the Town Council meeting live. Congratulations are in order for Barnstable Town Clerk Ann Quirk. Quirk recently earned the designation of Master Municipal Clerk from the International Institute of Municipal Clerks after completing the educational requirements and demonstrating a record of significant contributions to local government, the community, and state. Congratulations, Ann. Litter and attainable housing are two big priorities for Town Councilor Paul Hebert. We learned more about these topics in his interview yesterday. In studio with me today is Town Councilor Paul Hebert. Paul, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me.
So there's lots of things going on at this time of year. Spring has sprung, and we're kind of finally getting some good weather out there. But with the good weather and the lack of snow cover, there's a little bit of litter out there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some near and dear things to your heart that you're working on as a town council. Talk to us about those.
So as you say, the litter problem is getting more and more serious. The Cape Cod Times just did a big spread on all of that. The frustration of people out there, especially with these nips that are all over the place, along with cigarette butts. We have, and I'm happy to report, there is a significant drop in the amount of plastic bags that you see flying from trees and on the ground. And so that's heartwarming that's made a difference. I know that people are voluntarily, as well as restaurants, pulling back on just issue automatically a straw. Some restaurants have gone to the point of saying, do you want a straw? Asking that question. If you have the option to always say, I don't need a straw. And we have to start to control this plastic. There is a young person who has started, and he's way ahead of schedule, at removing the islands of plastic that's floating out in our oceans. So our oceans are in big trouble, and one of it is because of the plastic. So every effort that everybody does to remove that. The little nips, they're photo degradable, they're not biodegradable, they're photo, so they ever get into smaller, more reduced pieces of plastic, and they go into our storm drains, as does the cigarette butts, which find their way to different waterways that we have. So it's incumbent upon all of us as citizens. I know that going for a walk, you go out for a walk, but most of us find that we have to bring a bag with us, and if you have a picker-upper, it takes a little bit away from your walk, but at the same time we're cleaning up our neighborhoods and we're sending a message. So I would like to see the town council get more clear, and we need to put up more signage. Beautiful, Barnstable, keep it beautiful. And so everybody has to do their share. So one is not to litter, and the other one is we all become custodians of our environment, so we all have to help pick the stuff up. So I'm hoping to make some inroads in that.
Right, there's several villages out there that are doing cleanup days in their villages. April is that month, as is May. So hopefully, you know, we take that time and just stop, bring a little bag with you, pick it up.
Well, and then talking about that, the dogs are all over the place, and so on public beaches, I've asked that we put up these containers for little doggy bags. And one of the reasons I push for that, and it has been done, DPW has put those out, not on all beaches at this point, but they're making progress on that. But I would go around, I have these blue bins that I pick up plastic in, and I go in and clean up. Well, there's all kinds of things that people put in there, and I prefer that. I mean, we don't always have barrels out there in the off-season. So, but what I was finding was, literally, when I go to a beach and I see stuff, I go pick it up while I'm picking up the other stuff. And the doggy bags, now people would use the doggy bag, but that's plastic. Now it has dog poop in it, and it's just sitting all over the place. So now we have the containers to put them in. So a little bit at a time, but we're making improvements.
Excellent. What else is on your mind as town councilor? What are you working on?
Well, housing is a big issue, and I really have to look at, I mean, I want as many apartments that we can have that are what they call fair market. But when I hear the prices of what they call fair market rentals for either individual, simple utility apartments or one-bedroom apartments, I've been working all my life. I'm on Social Security. I could not afford to live there. So I'm looking at how do we create, and it's not just our problem, it's a state problem and it's a national problem, that we need to find attainable housing that somewhat matches up with what we're earning. So, you know, many people who are artistic, whether music or art or theater, or have a passion for something in their life, that they should be able to have a job that allows them to follow their passion, but at the same time, you have to have the housing that goes along with it in order for them to feel good about themselves as citizens. So again, it's such a large problem, and it is complicated, but we have to find solutions to that. I mean, we're a smart state, and we have to be smart about how to create the housing that everybody needs, so they can be of service, and yet, you know, you follow your dream of what it is that you want to do. So the fastest way to create wealth in our country and stability is to provide the housing, because that's the first. You have to have a place to call home in order for you to make progress in your life.
Right. And I've heard the term recently called lifestyle housing,
Yes.
because, you know, you start off as a young 20-something,
Yes.
Dormitory style with communal living, maybe some laundry, that kind of stuff, and then you work yourself into that 1 or 2 bedroom apartment so your mom and dad can come stay with you, or friends, and then you work yourself into that 1 or 4 bedroom house, and then it cycles back down again.
Yes,
So
yeah.
more lifestyle housing, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And so actually, in that kind of similarity, a young professional starting out is really the same kind of house that the aging population needs to move into. So it's really like 2 bookends, and then you get this middle part. So yeah, that's thrilling, but complicated.
But complicated. Well, I'm sure you'll be working on it over your tenure at the town council, and your constituents are lucky to have you, Paul.
Well, and thank you for this opportunity to get that out, and we have to keep working together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Budgets, priorities, more budgets, and spring dominated our conversation with town manager Mark Ells today. Budget time. All budgets, all the time. With me today, town manager Mark Ells. Mark, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Budgets all the time.
It's a never-ending cycle.
It's a never-ending cycle. Give us a little update. Where are we in the budget process right now in the town of Barnstable?
We're before town council, asking for approval of our capital budget, and then you know, this Thursday evening, and then if necessary, you know, the first meeting in May, hopefully we'll get through the remaining items. Last council meeting, we got through about 2/3 of the items, and you know, so we've got the remainder of those, and then we have other normal council business and you know, and town business going on as well. So you know, hopefully we'll complete the capital improvement program, and then we'll move into there'll be a first read on May 3rd of the operating budget. So May 17th, they'll start operating budget. And that can take, I believe it can take, it'll probably take 2 meetings. I actually believe from the date they get the budget, they have 45 days under the charter. So that begins our timeline for the actual review and approval. So, so that's where we're going. It's going very well. Not untypical of past years, where that we, you know, when we talked last, I said there aren't really surprises with, it's not like you go in and you have no idea whether anybody will be. This is a process that's laid out well in advance, it's prioritized, it's aligned with our, you know, our greater strategic plan that we have. And so most of the time, you know, it moves forward in a pretty expeditious manner. And I expect that the remainder of these CIPs will move the same way. You know, there's talking about, though, you know, the one new one in here will be, we're moving into a reoccurring sort of capital program for dredge of our, you know, of our bays and of the channels in the bays, and you know, the other secondary you know, impacts of that are related to, you know, water quality and things of that nature, where the additional flushing can be, you know, extremely helpful given some of the other challenges in our bays that we have, like nutrient loading and you know, trying to, you know, enhance or maintain the habitats that are there. So you know, it all ties in together.
Yeah, when we talk about budget, you know, you say operating budget and capital budget. Most of the things going through now, capital budget, there were no big sticker shock things. There's the money that has to be spent on some of the building improvements and some of the airport improvements has to be spent. So, you know, as it goes through town council, they've already got those numbers. They know what they're looking at right after the beginning. On the operating side, are there any changes besides the dredging that people are looking at for town council? Or are you, you know, the numbers seem to be all the same that we go through year after year?
Well, significant changes this year because we did a major restructuring of our organization. Okay. So there's a complete realignment of our resources with the priorities. And so, yeah, that was a significant, and actually for the first quarter of the next fiscal year, remains a significant issue, because as you realign, you know, as you change your organizational structure, and we had to go through the administrative code approval, review and approval by council, which we received, then you establish your operating budget based on that organizational structure and how we, you know, allocate costs within that. And then we're going from, you know, FY18 to FY19. The picture changes dramatically. So finance and then each of the respective departments that are impacted have a lot more work to do, because it's not like what it was last year. Internal to us, you know, going into 20, one of the you know, priorities that I have now is to sit down with each of the department heads and look at their organizational structure, look at how we have our resources aligned, and make sure that all of our resources, all of our people are properly aligned to the priorities, because we don't have unlimited resources. And we do have priorities that need additional resources. So it's, we want to make sure that we're as effective as we can be with those resources that get approved annually. Right. And that's all. So, but that's what managers do. And so, you know, that's that. So we come together, we review this, and but each budget year is a little bit different. But this is a significant one. I don't know. You know, I've been here a long time. I don't know that we've gone through this rigorous of an exercise in you know, organizational change and then realignment of the budget to match that change. At least, I mean, I've been a director or senior management since 2002, and we haven't done something of this magnitude.
Well, it seems to be
it's flowing well, but we have good
right?
communication. We have had it. I've been discussing this openly, you know, with the public certainly, but with working directly with council on this, so that when you get to the council floor, no surprises. It's in line with the priorities, and hopefully it moves through without major, you know, without major issues.
So spring is budget, but spring has actually sprung, hasn't it?
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
I think it was 60 degrees the other day.
Oh,
I looked again at the temperature, saying it can't be.
couldn't have come soon enough. It was like, it was almost at the point where you thought it might not happen, and then it did, so that was good. Yeah, we're, besides all of this, management budget stuff, we gotta get ready. We gotta get ready and get our, our marinas are, our marinas are getting ready, the floats are going in, our beaches and our bathhouses will be ready for opening day. Our Main Street I was out at Open Streets on Sunday on Main Street Hyannis, and certainly you begin to look at everything, not just drive by it, but you're physically out there walking, looking at what's looking good and what we still need to get ready, because things are going to ramp up in about 30 days.
30 days, yeah. It seems like it's coming upon us faster than it normally has. I think it's probably because winter lasted until, May 1st.
Absolutely. People were inside. Now, every opportunity to get outside, they're going to be outside, which is what we want.
Yes.
And
sidewalks are being done. Those are all.
Absolutely.
South Street's all done.
Yeah, then they got to sweep, and and again, that's kind of a routine. And then by, as we move more into the summer season, things will begin to grow. So then we got to brush back and cut, and they're just, there is no, people will always say, especially on the Cape, there's a perception that, well, it must be so quiet in the winter. No, not here in Barnstable. I mean, we're going full all 12 months, and it's just the normal cycles that you would expect, whether it's working to get ready for a season, or closing out after a season, or maintaining it during a season, or planning for it in those, during those winter months. So,
well, happy spring, Mark.
I'm so glad that we hit 60, right?
Yes, we
That's
did.
Good. That's good. That's what we want.
Excellent. Thank you. Here's a look at the community calendar. Cape Cod has a litter problem, and the Marston's Mills Village Association needs volunteers. From nip bottles, foam coffee cups, to fast food packaging, the streets of Marston's Mills have piled up with litter over the winter, and here is a wonderful opportunity to help your village. Meet at the Marston's Mills Community Church Saturday, April 28th at 9 a.m. Please bring your own gloves. Trash bags will be provided by the town of Barnstable's DPW. Please take a little time to come and be part of this light spring cleanup out in the community with your neighbors. Bring the kids. There will even be areas mapped out that are safe for those with children off the main roads. Saturday, April 28th is National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day at police stations across Cape Cod, including Barnstable Police Station. They will accept old prescriptions from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This initiative addresses a vital public safety and public health issue. Medicines that languish in home cabinets are highly susceptible to diversion, misuse, and abuse. Rates of prescription drug abuse in the U.S. are alarmingly high, as are the number of accidental poisonings and overdoses due to these drugs. The DAA launched its prescription drug take-back program when both the Environmental Protection Agency and the Food and Drug Administration advised the public that flushing these drugs down the toilet or throwing them in the trash posed potential safety and health hazards. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow for interviews with the Harbor Master's Office, Barnstable Recreation Department, and a look at the upcoming Festival of Museums. April 26th is designated as National Audubon Day. This day is set aside to honor the birth of John James Audubon. Did you know that 2 Audubon wildlife sanctuaries called Barnstable home? Celebrate this day by visiting Long Pasture Sanctuary or Barnstable Great Marsh. Long Pasture Sanctuary has many beaches, has sandy beaches, butterfly-filled meadows, woodland trails, and farm animals combined to make Long Pasture a unique experience on Cape Cod. Gentle, varied trails lead to what some have called a million-dollar view, with Barnstable Harbor flanked by the dunes of Sandy Neck Barrier Beach. Barnstable Great Marsh is a short walk through the woodlands and will bring you to the edge of the salt marsh. Enjoy the ever-changing beauty of one of the most productive ecosystems on Earth. Find trail maps and more at www.massaudubon.org. We will end today with a quote from John Muir. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.